and Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. Today we are on episode 60. I'm by my, I don't have my helper today, Bert, but I have to remember on my own. It's 65. And today I'm excited. We have, her name is Karma. And today, first off, we have everybody here. First of all, everybody's here. But we're going two at a time. But today, go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
I'm Albert. I play guitar.
This is Brian, the drummer.
Yeah. Okay. And from what my understanding, y'all are I heard OGs, so the original.
OGs,
so.
yeah.
Okay. So was it just you two that started off, or there was like a separate group?
It was a whole nother thing.
Yeah, Albert was more OG than me.
Yeah.
we had played together in kind of like a southern rock band that we were not fans of.
Okay.
And I wanted to start playing heavy music again, and so I dragged almost everybody that was in that band over to start this project. Went through a few names, but
already I knew it.
We're partying.
well, two-fifths of our band just died.
See,
So we're looking for a new singer and a new guitarist.
So y'all were asking, oh, he's gonna be in the room, and I'm like, I don't normally have them, and he already dropped some shit. So say bye, Zen.
Your laws don't rule me.
I knew it wasn't gonna be long.
That was
the whole time.
We weren't even like 2 minutes in. Oh my!
It was like I was waiting.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. I'm like, I was just like, yeah, I'll let him in, but we'll see what he fucking does. Yeah, he already knocked something over. Anyways, yeah. So before part of your band was crushed by a sound panel.
We have openings.
Yeah.
Job opening.
No, we had. It was a little 4-piece for a while. Actually, Lee was part of that too. Our bassist was part of that too. And then I don't know. There's a bunch of lineup changes and differing styles and.
Yeah, they needed a drummer because their original drummer Ferris, our boy Ferris, he had some other commitments and he was real busy. He's a really incredible soccer player, still is. So he was kind of doing that thing, and they needed a drummer to fill in for a show, and I decided I'd help them out. And it was only supposed to be a one-show thing. This is back in the southern acoustic rock band that we were in.
And he just wouldn't leave.
And then I wouldn't leave. I'm here to stay. No, they were still looking, and I left, and I went home, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I really kind of enjoyed that. That was really cool, because I hadn't drummed in a band in, a long time, 8 to 10 years, something like that. And then I knew when they practiced, so I just kind of crashed their practice one day, and I was like, hey, heard y'all looking for a drummer, like that. And then Albert was like, hell yes.
Yeah,
like
we're super stoked about it. Yeah.
So that's where I came in. So.
But yeah, we went through a bunch of lineup changes and theme changes and stuff like that. For a while, we were under a title, Your Life in Words, and that, like, a lot of the stuff, at least like the lyrical content was based off of, film, books, TV, video games, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And there are some remnants of that. Like one of the next songs we're planning on recording is the lyrics from that are still pulled from that time.
Okay.
But then we had, Lee had left briefly. We had picked up a different bassist, a different guitarist. The singer that we had at the time left. Guitarist left, bass.
Oh my God!
We brought her in after the singer left, and then the guitarist and the bassist left at the same time.
Oh, shit.
So we invited Lee and Lee to come back and jam with us, and Lincoln to come and jam with us, and it was supposed to just be a jam, and just like Brian, they just kept on showing up. So so we had our lineup, and it all worked out because most of us had known each other for a long time already. Everybody except for our singer Taylor worked at Medieval Times together. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So we knew each other from like 2010, 2011, 2012.
Some of the old pictures from green screen.
Oh, found some old pictures. But yeah, and then I don't know, maybe like 7 years ago, we started actually working hard on this. And everything's taken us a long time because we all have busy lives and we're not exactly rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
So everything takes us a little bit longer. We got to DIY a lot of stuff. We got to figure out how to make things work around our schedules and our funds and stuff like that.
No, working around schedules with like bands is like one of like the most difficult things. The older you get, like with time passing, like you just get more shit that you have to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, let's all get together, practice. Like, it takes like coordinating, like when can someone do it, and then you're limited on time. That's what I really, like. I've been talking a lot about. So you're talking about like jam sessions, like it just started like that. I used to love that part of like when I was in a band. That's how we wrote music. Like my favorite music was because we would have these like 5 to 6 hour practices where we were just like, okay, we'd practice the stuff we had, and then we'd have like time to just jam and just play whatever, and then like someone would in that hour or two would play something, but like, all right, now you just keep playing that and let's keep it. And we had time to just waste on this. And now like
We
to
took
think
it
about it now,
took it for granted. We didn't know what we had.
Exactly.
We didn't know what
That
we
was
had.
us too. I mean, we would hang out at our band house at the time, and man, we would just be there till late, 1, 2 in the morning. Like, it
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah.
I think about it.
Why is that
now.
a thing? We used to do that
Wait,
too. We had like a hoop and like
Yep.
we just stopped mid practice. Like let's just start shooting.
It's hard to believe that we even had that much time.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I go to wonder like where was this?
and we wasted so much of it because we for a while we were rehearsing at a house that was in Capel down the street from Hard 8. So we'd walk down to Hard 8. It was walking distance. We'd walk down to Hard 8,
Barbecue. It's good stuff.
just chow down and come back and just collapse into food comas, and nothing gets done. The rest of rehearsal, nothing gets done.
Yeah, which that's the part that I felt crucial, just because again you have time to let your creative juices marinate and just like, okay, let's hang out on an idea, but also just it builds a closer chemistry with like the band, so that you're actually like, oh, we actually like understand each other on a bunch of different levels, and we're comfortable with each other. Like I know how you write, like I know how I can help whatever you're writing, and vice versa. But that chemistry and relationship with like the bandmates is something that I look at bands that are like, don't get together as much and stuff like that. And I feel like you can kind of see it missing a little bit, especially like I feel like in stage performance, it comes out a lot, like how well you guys actually like vibe with each other on stage, which as me just being a music like just fan is something that I've grown to kind of just enjoy more. It's seeing like, oh, do they look like they're having fun with each other like on stage? And if they do, like it just makes me like have fun, no matter like what's playing, no matter what genre, what music's playing. Like I'm like, oh, that's a really big deal, and I started to notice that.
Yeah, performers feed off of audience feeds off of performers. So in a way, someone's got to fake it to start, but it also comes from something real. Like, I mean, we're all great friends. We've all known each other for a long time and stuff, and so it's easy for us to show that. But sometimes you got to push yourself to be in the moment when you're performing, because you just had to rush getting everything on stage, getting sound checked and stuff, hoping everything works out all right, just with your monitors or what have you.
Yeah.
And then getting out of your head to just enjoy the moment, and hopefully the audience feels that.
Yeah, and that's where the passion comes in for music. We're all pretty passionate about what we do, and we all have a lot of great energy, and we all vibe with each other a certain way on stage. Taylor and Lee have their own little moments, and then Taylor will have her little moment with me, and then me and Albert will have a moment, and it's just we push each other on to try to be the best that we can without sounding hopefully too terrible. So in the process, and the response has been great so far. People seem to kind of dig it, and we're really grateful for that. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a sound that I hadn't heard locally at the time when I first started listening. Because actually, like I was at like some of the, actually Lincoln invited me to some of the like early jams that y'all were having, because I think, I don't know, I can't remember where the house was, but I remember the Irving, yeah. So I remember showing up there and just listening, and I'm like, and I had known Lincoln for a little bit, but Lincoln was playing in a different band, which was like, a metalcore band. So going from that, and I'm like, Drown His Kingdom.
That was our early days. It's really cool that you were able to experience, us in those early days while we were still trying to develop our sound.
Yeah, because I heard like bits and pieces.
You're in a, I mean, not that we're rock stars or anything, but it's cool that you can that we have someone there that's like, I remember.
Well, yeah, because it was kind of cool. Like
know?
when the release, so the first EP when it released finally, I had heard bits and pieces of those songs like when they were being developed, and then hearing them like, oh shit, and that first EP sounds fucking great. Like it's really good. And actually, like recording wise, like did you guys go to a specific place for that?
Our friend Kevin Franklin, Megalodon Studios, he was staying in a house in Denton at the time. So we did everything there over the course of a few weeks. A day a week, a night a week, and we'd go over and knock out as much as we could. But now we're looking for someone else to work with since a couple years ago he moved out to California. It's like
to pursue his.
Well, come on, man.
They were actually at this, last year's So What festival.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the 27th.
The 27th.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. And it was really cool to see what he had left to go work on.
Yeah.
They're incredible. I think they're great. They have a really unique sound, in my opinion, and I'm just so happy for Mr. Kevin Franklin.
Yeah.
It sucks that we lost our guy because we had a really good chemistry with him, all of us, and he knows his stuff. He's really good.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening in California and if he's still doing the recording thing, you need to go find him, and he'll make it.
Did
sound
he do
good.
everything? I think he did the EP and the two singles.
Yeah.
Really?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. The two singles, fortunately, we had pretty much demoed out, and we had a good idea. For everything we've done, we've had a good idea of how we want to do everything when it comes to it. Like there's very little that changes between what we work on and what we play in rehearsal versus what goes on to what we record.
Yeah.
Maybe a few extra parts, a little razzle dazzle on top, but for the most part, and so that kind of, he seemed appreciative of that it kind of streamlines everything when you have a plan going in and know what you want recorded and how you want it recorded, or whatever. But he worked with us on all of those. Produced and engineered and mixed and mastered everything.
It helps that he knew he could rely on us too, for our financial obligations, and he knew he could trust us. And if something came out, we're like, hey, we'll get you this $100, like a week from now. He knew it. We were good for it. Most of the time we had it right there and then and there, and he loved that, of course.
Yeah,
because that's food on his plate, and so. That all goes into it. So
yeah, it's weird if you're not used to it, just professionalism in being a musician, because sometimes I'll hear stories like that. It's like, oh yeah, they haven't paid me for the stuff that they like have already done. And I'm like, that's so like, to me, I'm like, that's so wild. You know what I mean? How do you go into something? Yeah. And I remember like when I was first getting into seeing like stuff like paying for photos and stuff, like I didn't know shit about shit. Like I didn't know how much how much do promos cost? How much do all that? So I would always, ask prices, but I would never ask anybody to lower a price for me or do anything. I could be like, if it was too much, like I was like, oh, okay, I can't afford it, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, I don't have enough. Can you do this? I'm like, because dude, that's your livelihood.
What credit do you have?
Oh my god! Like I was like, I've heard stories where people do that shit. Where it's like, hey, I'll get you next week, or the whole the whole exposure thing. He's like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, oh my god, who has like the balls to say that to people and be like,
you don't want to go into saying, oh, can you do it for this much? And if you say it's a little too much for me, then leave it up to them and be like, okay, well, you know what, I can knock $50 off.
If they can, if they initiate it and offer that. But other than that, I was like, no, there's no fucking way.
But that's been a big bottleneck, is that I guess we are professional and we like having the funds available to actually go out and do what we want to do. But I feel like that's been the story of at least my entire musical career. Because one of my old bands, my bassist at the time had a cousin that went to like Media Tech or whatever, and he had a little setup in his house, and we recorded everything live, and it was okay. But it was what we could afford.
Yeah.
And we put it out, we played shows, and then like that was that. And then with this, it has become more accessible with how prevalent DAWs are and interfaces and everything, and so it's easy to get ideas down and stuff. And I do a lot of looking into what I can do on my end. Like it'd be great just to record everything we can at my place, have the affected tracks, have the DIs. That way, if we want to change the sound, and then send that off to someone else, get him recorded somewhere, and that hopefully streamlines some stuff for some people and gives a better it's easier on our schedules and easier on our wallets.
Yeah, what's definitely become a lot more prevalent, and it's something really cool to see, like, over like my time in being a musician, going from like, oh, I have to wait till like we have enough money, and then going to find somebody, and then turns out that you take a risk on somebody, and then like, oh shit, it didn't turn out, and it's like my money's gone, like it's whatever. So like I feel like that's something that a lot of like more bands and musicians are going with, is the fact of like.
Again, we're looking. We will be auditioning a singer and a second guitarist.
I'm gonna fix this because I can't die twice. I can't have y'all dying.
David's died twice.
Knocked out on the couch.
Fucking thing.
I was like, yeah, fuck that.
The cat put a hole in the wall so I could push it from the other side. See a little paw coming through.
Hell no, no one's gonna come back after this podcast. Like, I almost died twice.
That's worth it. It's worth it.
Cat's like, here's Zenny.
Get the clicks. Her name is Karma Dies.
The clickbait
do my-
title. Oh my gosh.
Get those thumbnails.
I used to side note, I used to run a blog and I used to do all those clickbaity like things. It was so funny because I'd literally be in my room taking a bunch of pictures. I would do those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god. I would like take them like, what are you doing, man? But no, yeah. So a lot more bands are becoming like just learning new skills as much as they can do, because like it sucks that money is what's keeping you from like putting out music, from putting out merch, from playing shows, or like doing like, or traveling and doing all that stuff. So the more stuff you can keep in house, which is like tracking, people who do their own graphic design for like album art. Because I look at like when my band released their EP, we spent so much fucking money on. We made bad decisions, but we like bought artwork, and like the artwork I think was like had a whole like CD insert and stuff like that. But that ran us like $500.
Yeah,
and then like we. I forgot what else we got a bunch of fucking CDs made, and when CDs are already being phased out, you know what I mean? Like my fucking car now doesn't even have a CD player. I didn't even know that. It's like,
That's an option.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like they don't like, but yeah, like so any of these things that you can keep in house that you can do, just benefits you further. And you're saying like streamlines. It makes it easier for you to put out music or focus on like the actual part that you want to do, is being the musician, but the more skills that you can acquire, like the better. So like if you have somebody in your band that has like a knack for it or like enjoys it, then it kind of like helps out a whole bunch, like and whatever it may be. But yeah, I feel like it is super important, like to learn how to at least record ideas, because in songwriting.
You hear that?
Oh, is this an argument?
So I want to call out. No, I end up being the one. I really enjoy all of that stuff. So in my free time, I mess with that. It's my writing's almost fallen by the wayside because I'm just a lot of it's fallen by the wayside since my life's gotten a lot busier. But I used to write a bunch, and then like for my idea, like way back in the day, my ideas, I would there was this open source program called Tabit. It was like a free version of Guitar Pro.
Okay.
I'd tab out all that stuff, and the band I was with before, me and the other guitarists would tab everything out and stuff and send ideas back and forth. And then I went from doing that to just I'll set up my phone and film what I play. And then I went to also recording it on like just I'll pull up Logic and record it.
Yeah.
And now when we're working on writing and stuff, I'll try to have almost a complete idea, if not a complete idea, to bring to everybody, and that lets Taylor spend some time with it, writing out her vocal melody and her lyrics and all that. I can work with Lincoln on his parts if parts need to change. Same with Lee. Brian almost always disregards my drums and writes something so much better because I mean I'm barely a drummer. No. So
I feel like that's the normal dynamic in bands.
What's ironic about this is that I couldn't do I couldn't write a drum piece digitally like he does. Like, you know what I mean? Like in that comparison, he's actually a better drummer than me, to be honest. Like,
just give you a real
you're
kit.
Not a drummer, and you put this all together. Like, that's incredible. So
you mean you can't do 1/28 kick run, you know,
Riding
machine gun kick drum.
That would happen a lot. So like, and I've seen it like my friends' band stuff like. But once you start like programming, and then like instead of like, oh, like I'm not gonna wait for like the drummer to make something, like let me make something quick, and then like our drummer would be like, what are you writing? Like this doesn't make sense. Or, like it doesn't like it's always writing. There's a guitar player writing like drums, and so it's different rhythms that they were following and like different things that they were trying to do, and it always ended up like confusing. It's like,
paid everything.
It's like you don't need all this here. Like,
it starts out simple when you first get into it. It's just like I just need something to help me keep time while I'm recording this. Or while I'm putting this idea together. Something just give me a basic backbeat, whatever. And then you slowly
and then it turns into something that where you need like the drummer needs like 8 arms and 4 legs.
the octopus arm.
What do you mean you can't hit the hi-hat, snare, tom 2, and the china at the same time? What's the matter with you?
Just stack them. Make a trash stack.
And Albert says that about his drums, but to be honest, I try to keep a lot, at least the roots of kind of what he's put up, because I try to make that give him that ode for putting the work in to create something. So I try to keep a bit of the feel that he was going for as much as I can, just because I appreciate the hard work he puts into doing it. I'm like, and a lot of times he comes up with stuff that maybe I wouldn't have thought of. So it's weird how a non-drummer's mind works. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, let me try to implement that, and then it actually makes me a better drummer. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I never would have thought to do that. Like, you know what I mean? So I try to respect him in that way, and I don't drum it drum for drum like as he has it, but I try to kind of keep the bare bones, the roots of it, just to kind of pay him homage. So.
The thing about bands is like it's a giant collaborative effort, like always, and you're always feeding like off of each other. Like you get ideas. Like for me, like that's the biggest point in like the biggest advantage that you have in being a band. Sure, it's difficult sometimes because sometimes like it takes having to come to a consensus and agreement with like everybody. Which if everybody's like passionate about the band, you butt heads a lot. Which is honestly a great thing to have, like because that means people actually care about what you're doing. So that's fine. But you're also like learning from each other. You know what I mean? Even though you don't primarily play drums, like you still like have an input that be like, oh, this might be cool. And then you're like, oh, where it translates and it makes sense in your head. Where I'm like, oh, like maybe it doesn't work this way, but we can incorporate it and I can do something like similar and do like that. And then vice versa, you know what I mean? Like, running off of like, I think bass and drums like kind of like pair up like really nice normally on rhythms and like kind of feeding off of each other, but still being able to translate it over to like your instrument, like what ideas you're doing. And it's, cool because like I've seen the opposite, like a drummer trying to write like, guitar riffs. What the fuck? Sorry. What's Zenny's knocking shit over
Zenny's
outside.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
let me in.
That cat really.
Oh my God, he's riled up today. He's like but yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about being a band is that you have literally people around all the time to bounce ideas off of, and like I said, if the entire band like loves the actual music, like you end up with some really cool shit.
I mean, there's songs that we've had for years that I'll hear something and I'm like, hey, can we try this? Or Howard will hear something, hey, just try that. Like still that we kind of add stuff to, like just practicing. It's crazy. Like songs that we've been playing a long time. Like, and we're like, let's try this instead. Like, you know what I mean? Like that would sound cool here. Like it's just always evolving. It's just so awesome.
Do you have the experience of like writing a song and then playing it live and then realizing like because of the live performance, like, oh, this needs to change, like here?
Never.
Like
my work is perfect. Not that immediately comes to mind, but that's not what necessarily is on my mind while I'm playing live. I mean, a lot of our writing takes into account playing live to begin with. So we want to be able to bring as much of the song, the experience to the stage as possible, and then we worry about recording later. We worry about any extra stuff later, like any flavor bits later. It's
sometimes it comes out in practice. Like sometimes when you're on stage, you're too busy like trying to play it so that you don't mess up, and to make sure you concentrate on what you're doing. And a lot of it comes out in practice. I mean, Taylor come up with so many cool little variations on existing vocal patterns just in practice. And I'll be sure if I hear it or if Albert hears it or whoever, we'll be like, hey,
heads pop up.
That was badass. Like, please do that from now on. Like, you know what I mean? That was freaking cool.
I have no idea what I just did, but I'll try.
Those happen quite a bit. Where you're just like, what did I just do?
I'm most guilty of that. Albert like, oh yeah, that was when you. Yeah, he was like, I like when that little bass run and trying to run your end there. I'm like, I have no idea what I did, but I'll try to remember it next week. No, I don't remember what song it was at this point, but a lot of that is just playing just from the heart, and stuff will just come up, and just the hardest part is remembering what the hell you did.
Yeah.
I'm most guilty of that. I have a terrible memory, so.
I mean, we can tag out for someone else.
Oh,
wants
sure,
to
if you'd like,
speak.
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, we have the whole band here
I got
today.
it hard out. No. I don't want to bogart all the time. So
Okay, so now we just switched out, and now we have. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
We're gonna run it again. No, just kidding.
Lincoln, I'm the guitarist with Her Name is Karma.
My name's Taylor, vocalist. So fun things.
Fun things, yes.
Fun
y'all been
fact:
saying
my name is
Yeah.
Taylor Smith. It sounds like Taylor Swift. It's easy to remember.
Taylor Smith, and Lincoln Coleman. Man, I'm glad you're here, man. We've known each other for
Yeah,
quite a
long
bit.
time,
Like,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
a really long time. I was like, right now, like I was remembering earlier about like Drownless Kingdom, and I'm like,
We played some
That's-
shows together.
yeah, that's. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how we met. Like, I remember like playing a show with you, and I think if I'm not
I
mistaken,
want to say it was like the
the
Rail Club.
We did the release. We did. So y'all
I
played
think we
for our
the-
release.
I think
Yeah.
we played the release show with you guys.
Yeah, because I'd seen you. I think it was like a Curtain Club or Liquid Lounge like show, which RIP Curtain Club.
I ended up buying one of those. You were talking about those CDs, or I ended up buying one of those.
Good. I have 200 more if you want.
We never sold it.
The funny thing is we got like 300 and we sold like we profited off it. But I still have 200
left?
Yeah, because I think we only had to sell like 50 to break even, and we sold like
damn,
more than
that's
that.
not bad at all.
Yeah, so we didn't lose any money. Like it covered everything, not just the CDs, like the art. It covered like all that shit.
Okay.
But I'm like, now I still have them, and I feel bad throwing them away because it's nice. But I'm like, I don't know.
I mean,
what
but
to
it's
do.
like it's like when you like the equivalent of like when you play a show and you keep like any leftover tickets you didn't sell.
Yeah.
So like I think I still have some tickets left over from when we opened for Following Reverse. No, not Following
No,
Reverse.
Escape the
Escape the
Fate.
Fate.
Oh shit.
Yeah, fuck Follow Reverse. I mean Escape the Fate.
Call them out, right?
We'll get sued.
fuck Follow Reverse. Escape the Fate.
There you go.
Yeah, Escape the Fate.
But yeah, so we switched out. Cool. So now we have actually now I'm excited because I'm a vocalist, so I always pay attention to vocals first, and your vocals are
That's
so good.
Don't.
If you want, I'm sorry. Like I'm just
Oh,
gonna, your ego's gonna get fed today because like you're so fucking good,
Oh,
like
thank you.
really, really good. Like I said, I attended some of those first.
Tell her that she's gonna leave us.
But yeah, like I attended like Lincoln, and when Lincoln started playing with y'all, like he invited me to one of the jams, and like that's when I first heard you. But your voice is really like solid and consistent and really strong. Like it's really powerful. Like when you hear it, and it comes through just as powerful like on the recording as it does like live. So it's really like a really cool thing to listen to and hear. And like I said, it's not. As far as like locally, it wasn't something that I had because at the time when I think you guys formed with Lincoln, like when I remember, it was just like metalcore that I knew. Every band that I knew was like metalcore or like math rock at the time or anything like that. So this wasn't like some like people that I knew wasn't performing the type of music that you were. But it's really catchy. Like so your choruses are really catchy, which is something that I just get like super into because it's stuff that will get stuck in your head and you're like listening to like over and over, which is something I've grown over time to be more of a fan of. It's just like what's catchy, you know what I mean? Figure that out, and I feel like you have a talent for writing like some catchy like stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. with the first EP, lyrically. It's really aggressive. It's very
Working
aggressive.
through a lot of angst.
Kind of, yeah. So I was like vocally just hearing it, I was like, yeah, this is
It
very.
was never a phase, Mom.
Yeah.
Rock
And then
on.
I'm like, okay, it's aggressive. Then I read the lyrics and I'm like, oh, it's really aggressive. Okay.
It was.
Yeah. Is it all like personal experience or where's that coming from?
Yeah, I had like a big family like fallout dynamic happen like right when I turned 18. And it because I think people might associate it with like a relationship more than like it was actually a family relationship.
Okay.
And it like pissed me off. So I wrote about it.
Good, yeah.
So and like I write it down and then I let it go. And so this is what I did.
Yeah,
So,
using music and lyrics like to process like emotions that I couldn't figure out was
Yeah.
like the perfect way to do it, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, in a way, it's like kind of like every time you sing it, you're still like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, whatever.
It's like, oh, I can say it on stage and not have to like
Yeah.
just
Well, and then
feel
like,
it like
it's
off
gone.
your-
It's like, whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck you in the moment. And then it's cool.
But yeah, so Lincoln going from Drown This Kingdom to like
me.
So how did that like happen? Like when
Man,
you first joined?
it was crazy, man. So basically, I got replaced in Drown This Kingdom, and so I was working for DirecTV at the time and working for Starbucks. I had actually stopped playing music for a while.
Yeah.
And so Albert had actually come out to a couple of shows that I played with Drown This Kingdom.
Okay.
And then when he found out I wasn't with him anymore, he's like, hey, come and jam. And then literally started teaching me all the songs. So it was like, okay, cool. So it was a big difference, going from playing the drop B to drop D.
Shit, it was drop D in Drown This Kingdom?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was drop B. So I was like, that was a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
A flat.
but honestly, like, it was a little bit of a change because I still have a lot of like my influences when it comes to music is still like heavier
Yeah.
than I feel like what we play, but I love what we play. Like, so the thing is like, Drown This Kingdom was my first band. And then I came to do Her Name Is Karma. And so I was like, I don't want to play I don't want to play in a band if I don't like the music or if I don't love what I'm playing.
Yeah.
So it was an easy switch. Like, it was kind of weird going from drop B to drop B, but I loved everything we were playing. And it was fun. And honestly, I feel like I grew more as a musician after I left Drown This Kingdom and joined Her Name Is Karma.
Well, it's a big deal. Like if you
Yeah.
actually like what you're doing, because then you'll actually like invest time in music and become more passionate about it. Because if you're just playing like in a band just to play, there's no real drive to be creative. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of these bands, like where you end up playing and then they break up. But I've had that experience when I look at a band and I'm like, they're really good. Why'd they break up? But it's like they weren't playing what they wanted to play, so no one like was having fun. So it's a big deal. Like, so I absolutely
Like, it definitely feels like this is more of a group project since joining this. Like, with Drown This Kingdom, it's kind of all like individualistic. Like, not that was bad, but this definitely feels like more of a group project.
Gotcha.
And so, like, I feel like we mesh a lot better. I was thinking of something, and I had a brain fart. So
My
I'll
bad.
let you go.
I interrupted you, so I messed that up. I need to just be quiet here.
It's gonna bother me because I was gonna say something and I don't remember what it was.
It wasn't.
Oh yeah, so like I had actually never written anything when I played at Drown This Kingdom. Like, so
Oh,
it was my
okay.
first band.
Yeah.
And so the way that Albert writes challenges me to like get better. And so I actually I wrote my first song with the
With
band.
her name.
Yeah.
What
Oh.
song is that, Lincoln?
Down.
Yeah, really?
So that inspiration, actually, me and Albert sat down. That inspiration came from a Haste Today song called 68.
Okay.
So like sat down, I was like, man, I really love this. Like, let's try to write something like this. And so that's how Down came about. Like, I came with the idea, and Albert took it around with it. And so
That's fucking cool. So that again will draw you to like, again, be more involved and love this band more, or like, feel like you're more a part of this band because you're actually contributing to it.
yeah,
You know
like
what
so
I mean?
now like with Drown This Kingdom, I didn't really spend I spent my time outside of outside of practice, like practicing the music. But like when I joined Her Name Is Karma, then I started looking more into learning more about music, trying to learn more about how to write, like asking Albert questions about XYZ, like, so if you're like playing this, like what where could I go in this like range to play this, like so I wanted to learn more, so
Yeah.
I grew more, like I grew a lot. Honestly, I feel like I grew a lot when I joined this band.
Do you know what's crazy though? He like grew the most when he broke his arm.
What the oh wait, I remember
That's very ironic.
Hold on.
Yeah, so
Okay, I didn't elaborate, please.
COVID happened. And so like we
Fuck,
actually
COVID broke your arm? Goddamn.
so-
What strain was that? Holy shit.
so actually like so that when COVID, like the first year of COVID, like we decided we weren't going to practice at all. And so like I started picking up other things, like gyms were closed.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was getting into my gym phase. So gyms were closed. Like, all right, cool. Like one of me and Albert's good friends, Wes, was like, hey, like let's go mountain biking. So I bought a mountain bike and we started riding trails. Long story short, we're riding one of the trails and I broke my arm on the trail.
Fuck, dude. Mountain biking is fucking
Yeah,
scary as
so
shit, dude.
I had
Fuck
to go.
that.
Like, so I like texted. I was like, I think I texted him like on the way to the hospital. I was like, hey guys, I broke my arm.
Wait,
so,
you need to fix that. It wasn't like this. It was one-handed.
it's like, hey guys, I broke my arm. So
Probably said you're fired.
Probably did.
it's like, so it's like if we decide we're gonna have practice, like I'm gonna be unavailable for at least like 3 months. So. But you know, once I started to heal, once they cleared me to use my arm more, like I spent a lot of time practicing because it's like I broke my strumming arm. So
Yeah.
I was
Shit.
I was like, yeah, let me get the stamina and start working back on it. So that's a lot of like I spent a lot of time more on music, kind of like shit ton of time. So
Yeah.
that's really when I started working on more stuff. So
Yeah, that's funny.
COVID had its ups and downs for sure.
Ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, it did for like a lot of people. Like it for a lot of bands, it was a very deciding moment. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're either like, because you can't play shows, you can't like at the beginning, like you weren't able to really get together to rehearse. So like, how to figure it out. That's why like the stuff with like learning how to record your own shit like became like super big. I think that's where like it had the biggest like blow up in that kind of like feature, because that's all you could really do. Like, oh, if we can't get together, like I can record ideas and we can send just files back and forth. But people figuring out how to do that, or figuring out like what can I do in this downtime, you know, which is again learning, practicing, being able to play, learn more styles, listening just to more music and stuff. So what you're saying, like with bringing wanting to play music again, and like you coming from like a heavy project, and then you feel those elements like in like some of the like songs that you write now, you know what I mean? Because it's not metalcore heavy or anything like that, but it's got its heavy like interesting parts.
And so it's like I like it because it's, you know, it's not like it wasn't my idea of heavy at the time, but like there's still like we still have like a lot of songs where like very like, you know, we have parts where it gets heavy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I like that. So it's like, you know, I try to once I start writing more, I want to bring more of that influence into it, just because me and Albert like a lot of the same music, but I think like with like how we want to write, I think we could like basically
I'm stuck in the past.
I think with how we write, we can really like get together and
He's
like
trying to figure out a nice way to say
I
it.
write mid to late 2000s post-hardcore.
Yeah. Those were good times, man.
Like we
They're making a comeback.
we literally have a song. It's called GTFO, and it reminds me of My Heart Bleeds No More by Silverstein.
Holy shit.
It's like
I fucking love
literally-
that song.
Less heavy. It's like
It's Let's Live It, yeah. So it's
So
like
fun.
it's like a pop punk bleeds no more.
It's a lot of fun.
I need that. Sign me up. I want that sounds fucking great.
so yeah, like it. I'm looking forward to doing more with the band.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do have heavy influence. So I'm interested. I can't wait to see what we do. Do once I start writing more. Like I was just talking about it to Albert the other day. Like I had finally like came up with a song idea like from scratch. And I'm thinking like in my head like, oh, maybe I started that like a year ago. It popped up my Snap memories. It was like 2.5 years ago. It's like shit.
Oh shit.
Should probably finish that. So should probably get back to work on that. But now I'm looking forward to like what we write, and I like everything that we have so far.
Good. That's a big deal. The working on ideas and like figuring them out and before time like passes. So I mean, when we met Under Oblivion, it's the band that I was in or whatever. With the EP that we released, the newest song on that fucker was 3 years old, like when it was written. Yeah, and I'm like, and I didn't realize like that's the newest one. I go, that means all the other ones are super like old. And then we released like 2 singles like years later, and those were 2 years old. I'm like, we're fucking terrible, like at keeping up with like this shit. But you know,
Well, we're kind of in the same predicament. Like a lot of our songs, but like I think about like a lot of our songs we've written in the last 2. Like a lot of our newer songs we've written in the last 2 years.
5 years. I don't know. I think time's passing longer than you think.
Because COVID
like
put a
3
stop to a lot.
Okay, so maybe in the last 3 or 4. So maybe we should be writing more. But
Yeah.
like,
No, we should.
when did we start writing that one?
That was right after COVID, I think.
that was-
Like right when we
So
came
that
back.
was like what? A year?
2021.
We haven't recorded it.
I mean, but still, like, we wrote it though.
GTFO is our oldest song, and we haven't recorded it.
That's older than Harbinger?
It's like 10 years old.
No, no.
Isn't
I didn't know
GTFO the
that.
first one?
Yeah, GTFO was when it was me, him, Ferris, and RJ, and
I didn't
So
know that.
we're still figuring that part
all
out.
right, guys. You know, this is why I brought y'all here. Y'all need to put some shit out, all right?
We're working on it.
Don't do what we did.
We're working on it. I'm trying to get the ball rolling. I'm working on a lot of that right now. So, the next two songs we plan on doing is Harbinger, and if you're a fan of Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, the video.
The
I was
video
like,
game.
I was like, the only Mass Effect I know is the video
so
game.
that-
That Your Life in Words era, when we said it's all video games.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
That song is fun.
that song's about Shepard's fight with the Reapers. So that's like actually one of my favorite songs to play.
For all the nerds out there.
Yo, I'm nerded out. Mass Effect.
And it sounds fucking sick. I can't wait to hear it live. or
Fucking
record it.
random story
We played
is that
it
like
live.
Mass Effect was the first like because I never really gamed or anything like that. Mass Effect was the first one that I'm like I started playing it and I'm like what the fuck and just like it consumed me for like fucking like ever.
And so it was the same because I played Mass Effect 1, and when I started playing Mass Effect 1, I think 3 was coming out like a couple months later.
I think that's when I started playing it too.
I binged through 1. I did a bunch of playthroughs on 1, and then did 2, and by the time I was finished, 3 came out. So I was like, cool, I didn't even have to like wait for it because I was still playing through the game.
Yeah, like it was my first experience with one of the games where you can whatever you pick, like the character turns out like different endings. So I'm like, I need to like I want to do a good one. I want to be an evil one. Like I'm gonna like every fucking like version. Like I was
love
trying to
doing
find
that.
out.
So like normally I always do like the Paragon like endings, but like I was like, nah, let me be Renegade, and that shit was fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, let me be as asshole-ish as possible.
That's just
Let me
great.
kill everybody. Fuck all this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm nice in real life. Nah, fuck these people.
Am I?
But like that was one of the songs I was excited about because when I found out, like, I was like, oh shit, this is like about Mass Effect. Oh hell yeah! And so that one's one of the funnest songs to play, but also one of the hardest songs for me to play.
Yeah, good.
Fun.
It should challenge you. You should keep writing some hard shit. Your vocal influences, like I want to know, like kind of where that starts. Did you have like actual like professional like singing training or
No.
something like that? No,
No.
really.
Like growing up, like I mean, I grew up listening to Metallica. Like that's what my dad listened to. And then like as I got older, like female singer wise, like I liked Flyleaf a lot. And then what really made me be like, oh, rock music is cool to sing was In This Moment. Like
In
that.
This Moment? Ah, okay.
Yeah. And I cannot sing nearly as well as she can, but
Yeah.
but that's what made me be like, oh, I think that's what I want to do, vocally wise. But yeah, no professional training or anything.
Really,
So
I
fun
really
things.
like had it pegged. I'm like, oh no, dude, she's definitely like learned about this shit because it sounds like again like the control and like power that you hear from yourself. It's just sounded like that you would have like had like some sort of formal training. In it.
No,
Nice.
my mom had me do vocal lessons when I like, and this doesn't count because I was like 8, and I loved it. And then the teacher moved. I did it for 1 year, and then
Oh, no.
I had like massive stage fright. I like turned my back to the whole audience the first performance I did, and like whispered in the mic. It was horrible.
no.
Yeah, and like cried. So I'm not kidding.
How did you?
We're her first and only band.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How- so-
I mean, like, it's amazing I wasn't murdered. Like, I met them on a Craigslist ad. I'm not kidding.
It's like everything that you shouldn't do.
I'm not kidding. So, yeah. It's
Hold
like
on.
amazing.
What did the correct? I want to. You
I
should have
think it
saved. You
just
should have
said-
saved the ad.
Yeah, like, I think it, because, like, I was just looking through, like, because I had looked at a bunch of stuff, and then they had, like, a little sound clip of, like, the music that they played, and I think it was Harbinger. And I think Reaper, too, but it was called Optimus or something at that time. And I like listened through and I was like, well, I really like their sound, but then I was like, this is super sketch because like it's Craigslist. So,
This is how the uniform.
yeah, this is how I die. So my sister went with me when I first auditioned, and like it was funny because it went really bad because they sent me just the sound, and like apparently there was a Harbinger like sound with like someone singing like the vocal melody, and so I didn't know the vocal melody, and so like I sang about the weather. I'm not even kidding. And I was just like, massive scream, like just a random, because I was like, you guys didn't send me that, so I think I came back a week later. And then they like acted very chill about it, and they're like, "Well, you can join, like I guess."
You
I
can
was like,
join, I
"Okay."
guess.
I think I came to listen to one of the like first few practices they had. I think Albert invited me to come out and listen after Taylor joined. I think I was still with Drowning's Kingdom at that time. But yeah, like I remember like the first time I heard Taylor, I was like, oh, like she sounds like really fucking like good.
They don't
Yeah.
ever compliment me, so it's nice to hear.
Can't let it go to her head. Can't let it go to her head.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as the camera shut off, he's like, "You suck." Just so you know, like,
She'll
it
realize
was
she's
just for
better
the.
than
Remember
us.
that.
She'll realize she's better than us and leave us.
It's like,
Nah.
it's like we're just being nice to you on camera.
Yeah,
Like after it.
like we had a lot of singers got back to us.
Yeah.
Our other guitarist at the time, the one that Lincoln replaced, we were sitting on the patio hanging out at practice, and we were mulling it over, and he was like, Brian. I was like, what? And he was like, bring me the girl. I was like, all right, man, you got it. I'll get it. Wait, how far? Oh, I don't want to know. How far were you driving in from practice?
It was like 2.5 hours. I'm from East Texas.
Wow.
And, I was driving from Tyler. And we
shit.
switched. I was very flaky in the beginning. I'm surprised they didn't fire me. Because like, there's a lot going on. I was like nannying kids and like, it was really hard to like get in touch. But anyways, yeah, I drove that for like, 2 years? And then I moved up here, so.
For 2 years?
Yeah.
How often were y'all practicing?
Once a week, sometimes
once a
twice a
week.
week.
But still,
So it was like, I think it was Mondays at the time, so we'd practice every Monday.
So like
Yeah.
5 hours of driving, like every practice,
Yeah.
every
we were
week.
practicing way longer at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were having like 3-4 hour practices at the time.
And I worked at a gym at the time too.
Yeah.
Throughout that process, and like I'd have to be at work at 5 a.m. and I would get in at like 2, literally like take a shower, get dressed, and go to work.
Oh my god.
And then I would take a nap after work. It was a lot.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like we got some stories, some character, you know.
yeah. It was crazy.
You guys have any crazy stories for the band yet?
This would have been the
I don't know.
when we were at the old practice house, and I think I forget what y'all were playing, but this is back when
Bob had his pants down.
Hold on. You can't just shout that.
with the Darth Vader mask on.
Hold on, let me.
It was Darth Vader. No, it was Batman mask.
I thought that was Darth Vader. It was Darth Vader. Yeah, and his pants down.
Whatever mask it was, I want to know what situation.
I don't even know why. Why did he do that? Was it a dare?
No, we were just hanging
we were
out.
just jamming. And so like his pants are down, like children's mask on, and then so there was a guy across the street that was renting out the house to the guy that was sponsoring us at the time.
Yeah.
And he walked in, like we were playing kind of loud, so he like walked in, and so that's what
Like
he
just
walked
walked
into.
in and just.
And so he walked into Bob.
Walks in.
He walked in with Bob with the mask on and his pants down, and we're just like,
Oh my god.
That's not what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it look like?
Gabe and John had the mask on, and Bob just had his pants down.
I don't know. It was crazy time for sure. Though.
Either way, it's some,
Well,
that guy walked into some weird
like,
shit.
What in the hell is happening? What is going on right now?
It was very
It's called
funny.
art, all
It's
right?
called-
Yes.
Yeah, don't question it. Yeah, we had a lot of fun times at that practice space. Like, definitely miss it. Miss all the times we'd go out and take a break, and then I'd fall asleep in my car. And then they'd be like, "Where's Lincoln?" And then it's like, and have to come wake me up and
To come back to practice.
inside. Yeah.
Those practice spaces and just like those practices, like you're saying, like 3 to 4 hours, like are something that I feel like you take for granted at the time. Because again, time is just, it's insane. Like how from one year to the next, you're completely like busy, and it's hard to find like that time. You look at like, oh, look how much time we actually had to just hang out and like play music and do stuff. And then like again with being in a band, it's finding time to practice. It's finding time when you're gonna record, coordinating that, playing shows, having to figure out like everybody having to take time off, and coordinating with people like running shows and things like that. That's why like so one of the biggest things when we started like NoiseROT was for like booking shows. Like we're like, we need to make sure everybody like knows what time like they're supposed to be somewhere or something like that, because I've had so many instances where I found out day of like what time I was supposed to be there, and or like I show up and nobody's there. You know what I mean? Like I've had that plenty of times. I brought this story up before, but there was a time we were supposed to open for Dayseeker, and then they didn't show up, and we were just like, what the fuck? And like so this promoter was full of shit, and it turned out like to be actually, it's you remember Kevin Dunlap?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was one among many fucking stories that happened, and like the Dayseeker never used to come through him. They used to come through somebody else. I think it was Richard Hudson at the time, if you remember Richard. But and then Hudson messages like, Dayseeker's like not coming through. They normally like talk to me, and I'm like, well, I don't know. He booked it, and like nobody shows up. We showed up there. There was a sound guy, but he was like, no, it's not supposed to be a show today. And we're like, what the fuck? Yes, there is. I'm like, what this shit? But all these like little things, just like convenient things, is like,
I just always
can I
remember
just know?
him being like really shady, because like I was usually like if it wasn't Chris, it was usually me like being point of contact for Drown This Kingdom. So I would usually like book all of our stuff and just remember trying to like deal with him. It's like, I don't know about you, brother.
Which, like when we started doing it, we were just like, okay, let's make sure at least communication wise, like everybody should know like what they're doing. But it gets a bit frustrating, like sometimes, like when you're doing stuff. What are your like? So you have like 2 songs y'all are planning to sort of like work on and put out and stuff.
So
I don't want to commit you to like putting them out or anything like that.
they're already like written and complete, and so we're really just trying to work on actually getting to the studio and record it. It's not like I'm working with getting everybody's schedules and then we're gonna go take it, and then we're trying somebody new because Kevinson, he left us. You know,
So sad. I'm so sad about that.
he left us.
We
He's
were
in
so grateful
California.
You guys
for it.
pick somebody now? You guys know who you want to try?
Yeah,
or?
so
You don't have to say either.
we're gonna go. Taylor Beckstead.
Matt
so-
Studios.
Yeah, so
nice.
we're gonna go check them out. They were showing me some of the new back talk stuff they were doing. I was like, oh, this sounds sick. So,
They've got a lot like in the short amount of time because they started like right around like when COVID started, so they just like been working. Yeah,
it sounded really really good. And then also the fact that they do live drums. So Brian wants to record his drums, so I gotta make sure we get somebody that can record Brian's drums. So getting that on the books. Hopefully, we'll have something here in the next few months. Trying to get some stuff out in preparation for. So we're doing the April 21st show with Di. We have one more show that we're doing that I can't technically announce yet.
Tell me. I'm just kidding.
But
the cameras are off. It's fine.
So we're gonna play So What Fest again this year. So trying to get.
I don't think we can.
We can't put that on the podcast, but
we'll bleep it out. That's fine. Okay.
yeah. So trying to get all this stuff in preparation for those 2 shows.
Because our like photos are from like 2018.
18,
Like we
So
none
our
of us
promos-
look like
I was
that
gonna
anymore.
bring it
Our
up.
promos
Yeah.
You
are.
have a really cool jacket on though. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
like I'm into overalls now, so
I was like
Honestly, real talk,
overweight and
overalls are
blonde
fire.
hair. It's like I look back at those first, like, man, I was so chunky in those pictures. It's like we need new pictures.
Well, you all buff now, dude. Like, side note, this dude picked me up the other day and it freaked me the fuck out. At
emo night, right?
At emo night, I was like, "Oh, what's up?" He just like grabs me. I'm like, "Oh, it's like a bear hug," and he's like, I just get lifted, and I'm like, "Never in my life!" Like, I was like, there, just like stood there. I'm like, what just happened? Clutching my purse and shit. I was like, what the fuck?
I feel violated.
Yeah. You want to hop in for one of us?
Sure. Come on, man.
We have a love-hate relationship.
Oh, ooh, really?
It's mostly hate.
Mostly.
Like copious amounts of hate.
Why a love-hate relationship?
Oh, we just always have.
Believe it?
I don't know. I'm just compelled to insult her like every time.
Every time he sees me.
I feel that.
Like, you look like crap today, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so we know something's off if we're
Keeps
like,
me
being nice
humbled.
to each other.
So,
Yeah.
so if nothing's being said, something's wrong.
Yeah,
You know?
like we're
If you're not insulting me.
actually fuming. I'm
Like-
kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, if you come and give me a compliment, I was like, are you okay? Like, it's like, what's going
What
on?
is wrong?
What is wrong?
What's wrong? I didn't
Yeah.
expect that.
Yeah, imposter or something.
It's
Yeah.
quiet over here for that long, almost started a fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I have to sit here so you can insult me for a little bit, and then I can go.
That'll be what the last part of the podcast is. Just like, just go
Just
at it.
insults.
Yeah, insult.
Yeah.
Well, this is why you suck.
Yeah, I don't like your face.
Well, this is-
Stop breathing my air. Yeah.
It's just,
Counseling 101.
okay, so you started off early with the band, and then you said you left and came back.
Correct.
Yeah, did it take some convincing, or was it kind of like easy, like to come back and roll into it?
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. As I said before, they reached out like, "Hey, come jam with us." And I was like, "Sure." I had nothing going on at the time. And
Yeah.
like you said, I just kept coming back, and like, "Hey, you want to be with us as a part of this project?" And I was like, "Sure." Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess it was pretty easy.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I just showed up.
We
You
haven't
know,
introduced.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the person talking about? Yeah. I'm Lee, the bassist.
I'm not gonna cheer
That's
for
it.
him.
That's it. All right, that's all the time we have for That's all the time we have for today. No. Was this? So is this your first first project? Or have you done like other bands before?
This is my second. As Albert mentioned earlier, I was with that other Southern rock band. I wasn't a fan of it either. But
Yeah.
for me, it was my first time playing like in a band and also playing the bass like at the time because I grew up playing traditional instruments in school. I played trombone, clarinet, contrabass.
Really?
Clarinet.
Okay.
So it was a big switch, and the reason why how I even started playing the bass was because there was a song by the Smashing Pumpkins I liked so much. I'm just like, I'm gonna pick up a bass and just learn the song.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I don't want to say I'm self-taught. I can hear things and kind of know what to play to it and everything. And when I was asked to join that other band, I was making every excuse in the book because I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't consider myself a bassist. I just knew that song.
Yeah.
And the singer at the time kept calling me, hey, and I was making every excuse. I don't have gas. My car's not working. Yeah, it was just really awkward.
Had just like written excuses, like crossing out which ones keep
Yeah,
using.
and so
Now we know if
yeah.
he uses it now. We're like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
Well, I'll ask him if Taylor's there, and then I'll say I'm not coming. Then.
That's every week.
Who's over there?
yeah, so it's painful coming in. No, but so eventually I showed up, and it was just weird. I mean, I also learned some things, but the experience with the whole the style, it wasn't my thing. And I definitely enjoy what we're doing now, much more, and I've been able to improve upon my playing skills, and it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah.
Did any of you enjoy that band? Because you all have said we didn't really like it.
I did actually.
You would be like,
There's one person.
It was so unlike anything I had ever played before, and I was like, "This is fucking awesome." So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I had been out of a band for 4 or 5 years, and I just wanted to play.
Just needed something. It's like, I just needed something.
Okay.
I need to play.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I just need to get my fix.
Yeah, cool turkey.
The Curtain Club.
Yeah.
No, not the Curtain. The Curtain Club. Yeah,
Wow.
that was we
Played a
actually
couple
played our
shows
first show
there.
there.
Played a couple shows.
At the Curtain Club?
that was our first show.
Oh, wow.
And that
That was chaotic.
that was a shit show.
Why was it chaotic? What
Oh, it was just a
happened?
lot.
I don't remember who the
There was a
promoter
lot.
was, but he just basically was like, "Let me book as many bands as possible."
There was bands playing until 3 a.m.
it was like
What the
it was
Yeah.
like, it was
Oh
like
my
10
God.
bands.
It was nuts. It was just chaotic, and you had to move your shit super fast. And I think there was a picture of me just holding your bass, and I was like, "What do you want me to do?"
Just hold it. Just hold it.
That one was definitely my fault because I was still kind of I'd only really been booking stuff for kind of been the poor person with booking stuff for a year
Yeah.
in the band. So I was like, this seems legit. And then when I got there, I was like, damn, my bad, guys.
Oh my God.
It was nuts.
Yeah, and that's so it's funny, but that's some of the stuff when we started this, I was like, dude, we've gone through so many shit shows that it's and I don't think it's that hard for it not to be it's these are things overbooking stuff. We had one time where we showed up, so we were supposed to play, it was a 6-man bill. And then they tell us day of, we're picking up our shit from our rehearsal place. So it's I think load-in's at 5, it might be 4 o'clock. We get a message and it says, these 3 bands dropped. And I'm like, so it's just a 3-band bill now. And it's going to start at, 8 instead of 7. And we're like, okay. They tell us day of. And I'm like, okay, I guess it just happened today, whatever. We get there. It was at the Rail Club. This is old Rail Club. And then, there is a charity auction happening there for motorcyclists at the Rail Club. When we get there, I'm like, it's fucking full here. What the fuck? There's people in there set up. I'm like, we're supposed to play today. We're all freaking out or whatever. And we go, it's oh yeah, this ends at this time. And then the show starts over here. And I'm like, you just told us that the band's dropped today. So how long have you fucking known about this? So yeah, fuck this dude. Yeah, it's Kevin again. It's again, yeah. Fuck this guy. I tell you, he's fucking terrible. He's fucking terrible.
Wasn't he embezzling money?
Yes, I hope. Allegedly. You know what? I'm not gonna get sued over libel.
Allegedly.
But,
No
but I can
suing.
talk about this show because I know that for a fact. This fucker double booked it, and I guess these bands must have dropped. Or I don't know if they were even on the show to
Yeah.
begin with. But yeah, it's oh yeah, they're gonna clear out, and then we'll have the show. I'm like, what the fuck? It was and then some of these fuckers hits me it hits my car. One of the dudes that were there backed up into my car and then tried to fight me, and I'm like, you're the one that did this. I was like, I don't know what's happening. This is just a terrible fucking day. But little shit like that is it's not that hard just to do the right thing as a promoter or get instructions because there's been some shit shows that I've just been a part of, and then there's balances you need to overbooking is kind of weird because you have bands playing at 3 a.m. I'm like, who's sticking around for that
Not
long?
me.
You know what I mean?
After 9:30, bro, I'm like,
Midnight.
It's
I'm
tough.
like, I gotta
It's
go.
tough. Yeah.
go get in bed.
Yeah.
If you ain't, if you ain't out, if the last band's not going on 9:30 to 10, it's anything after that, it's kind of It's a little tough. It's a little tough.
It's,
Yeah.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
And the crowd's just different after that time, too.
Yes, yeah.
Because they're there to party. And I'm
It's-
like, I just want to go home. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
You're lucky you got me out here at all.
Exactly. I just show up.
It's like, if I ain't out by 7, you know, don't ask me to do that.
I definitely will say it's like booking with you guys and then booking with Die. It's like a lot easier because y'all make it like so streamlined, and then you're like you send. Like, I will never be upset with you sending a ton of emails.
Yeah.
'Cause you keep me in the loop, and so I always try to like. I understand both ends of it, so I always try to be.
Yeah, that was the thing with like us is that we, you know, all of us were musicians or have just been like in the music scene for like forever. So we understand that side of it. And then over the past, because we've been at it for like a year now. And that first year taught us a lot on the other side of it, you know, like how to find this balance, you know, how to find the balance of, you know, doing the best that we can for like bands, and then also like figuring out how to run a business. And it's there's a weird balance in having to be on both sides, but there's a good way to do it. I was like, at least we can like be as informative as we can and make sure everything runs as easy as possible. But yeah, so shows you have 2 and 1 that we can't mention. Yeah. April 21st. Where's that one at?
That one's gonna be at Ridgely Room.
Ridgely Room. Nice. Who y'all playing with?
I have no idea. I really don't.
Yeah, that's his apartment.
No, it's okay.
Give me no memento. Por
Actually, we'll make sure, because I forget that you're over there. We don't even have a mic over there. Yeah, like April 21st at Ridgely Room.
All right, so we'll be playing with Atlantic Blue, Saving Vice, and so Bleeding Truth, Atlantic Blue, Saving Vice, Mirror Lake, and Vampires Everywhere.
Oh shit, Mirror Lake's coming up?
Yeah.
Fuck, they're fucking great. Mirror Lake is really dope.
Yeah, so this is a collaboration with Third String and Die.
Nice. Yeah, Mirror Lake's fucking sick. I forgot when I found them, but their vocalist is really good too.
Yeah, we can announce that one. So like,
They sent us info and then redacted the info.
yeah, so like they.
Man, we gonna be bleeping out a whole bunch of shit here.
Yeah. Posted like the flyer.
Yeah.
It was like, but like we've been announcing like, hey, like we're gonna have a show April 21st, and we gotta get people out there. You know, let them know ahead of time.
Alright, just follow up with me if I need to bleep this shit out.
Like, that was fine. That
Okay.
was for sure fine, but like, so what for sure.
We can't.
Stop saying it then. Yeah. Okay. We'll cut that out and bleep it out. But
So we are playing.
Yeah.
Can we
So
repeat
we are
that?
not playing.
no.
Yeah.
So. I'll say you say so and you say what? Now y'all.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right.
Allegedly.
Damn. I keep saying it. I mean, I have to keep cutting stuff out.
So the crazy thing about that was like, So What Fest last year. That was our first show back in 2 years.
And we make the
Nice.
joke like we're stadium artists now.
Y'all are. You just put that on the
Please don't
resume.
call us.
Put that on the resume. All right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate all of y'all coming by. This has been really fun. Actually, now it's the most people that I've had like on the podcast. I think before it was like 4. Now it's fine. Huh? Yeah. I'm figuring it out. We'll keep working on it. We'll get mics for everybody. We'll figure it all out.
Well, you're growing, in the process of growing, so.
Yeah. Now you didn't have to be in my living room. I know. You're like, oh, there's people over there.
Wall.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be wild. It's fine. But yeah, thank you all of y'all for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. I know I'm looking forward to hearing the new stuff as soon as it comes out, and looking forward to seeing some live shows and seeing what y'all are up to. Man. I'm happy that I got to kind of see where this sort of started, like with everybody, and see it now, and then listen to it, and it's great. I like what y'all are doing. But yeah, once again, thank you for coming by. This has been episode 65 with Her Name is Karma. 62? 62? 69? Now I'm getting confused. No, fuck.
I was hoping it was going to be 69.
That's gonna be. You can come back for that one.
Such a man thing
We
to
got to
say.
come back in 4 episodes so we can be
It's a
episode
Lincoln
60.
And for yeah, episode 65 with Her Name is Karma. Thank you much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening.
much.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Time